Hi, I'm Morgan,
And I'm Megan.
twins and host of M&M Chat, a monthly podcast that brings together our many commonalities: motherhood, farm life, fitness, chasing our passions, and girl chat. It is our goal to create a show that is positive, real, and fun. Now let's dive in.
All right, guys, welcome back. It is season two, which is titled Calm and the Messy. And if you haven't been following along this year so far, we are breaking the year up into four series. We decided to focus on series for the year of 2023 just to help us dive in deeper and enrich our conversations. So today we're going to continue our second series, all about organization and creating a calm and peaceful home. So this conversation will just kind of continue on what we talked about last month, just a little bit more of the practical side of it, some more tips and strategies and things that are going well for Morgan and I, and maybe things that we would like to focus on in the month of May and as we head into summer. So it would just be kind of a conversation back and forth, and I'm excited to talk about some of these strategies because we all know that having a calm home really changes everything. I feel like it really impacts our day to day.
I think you're so right. And when you don't have that alignment, like you can feel like frustrated or chaotic, or you can feel like your mornings don't just go quite like they should. So I think creating that calm and peaceful environment, it can look so many different ways and whatever that means to you. But I think it's just so important to have that conversation and to just every so often, like we can get stuck in our ways and we can get stuck in the day to day that it can be one of those things that you don't really even think about, and then you all of a sudden, like when you kind of make it a priority to focus on it, you're like, oh, well, I could kind of rearrange this space, or maybe I should do some spring cleaning. So it's just good to revisit the conversation at least once a year.
I think so too. It feels good too. It just has that fresh feeling
Mhm.
every once in a while to do that. But before we dive in a little bit more today, how is just life going since we last talked on our podcast? And do you have any more house updates? Because especially since we're talking about home organization and just creating that calm, peaceful environment, I know our listeners are probably eager to hear how that is going and if you guys are making steps in the right direction.
So we are definitely making steps. House update is that we are finished with drywall, and they came and
Yay!
they added texture today. So now it's just drying, and hopefully they will come tomorrow and kind of clean everything up. So I think today when went out to the farm, we saw that the garage doors were up, but no one was there. So I'm thinking they have those doors up so that way air can get in, it can dry out and stuff. And yep, all of the texture and things have been added. So hopefully we can start painting this week. And we have some really good friends in our community group, which our community group is a sort of like a Bible study, but it's just for fellowship and things like that with people in our church. And someone in our church offered to paint for us because they work for a painting company and they have access to a sprayer and stuff like that, which is such a huge blessing. And he literally said he could do it in a couple days, which it was going to take us a couple days as well, but it would take him literally a couple hours in the evenings, he said. And then for us it was going to take literally all day for
And
probably,
lots of hands all day.
and yeah, like lots of hands, a big painting party. And this way it will be done and stuff, and I don't necessarily have to get someone to watch Dean and stuff like that. So um it's a huge blessing. I do like to paint, so I told Tyler, I said, like he's doing a lot of the work on the house, like framing and putting cabinets up and stuff. And so part of me was kind of like, well, painting was like the only thing I was really gonna do besides the barn doors. So part of me was kind of like, well, I don't know, I kind of want to paint just to be part of it, you know?
Yeah.
But like Tyler said, this is gonna save us. And I'm kind of behind on my garden. I haven't even put my weed fabric down or anything yet. And usually this time of year I have half of my garden almost planted. And I
Yeah.
know usually the Mother's Day is kind of that safe weekend. So usually I don't have a ton of things planted yet, but usually I have all my weed fabric down, my drip tape, the netting and all that. And I don't
Yeah.
have any of that down yet. All I've done is till it. So Tyler, he was like, Morgan, this will be really good. And it's such a blessing to have that help because now you can maybe walk on the garden this weekend or we can do other things and we can get the cabinets in sooner and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, so it's gonna be
Yeah.
so exciting to see the paint up. I think that's gonna just change the whole space. And then once paint is done, then cabinets go in, flooring gets done, and then we'll still probably have to paint the trim and doors. So maybe I can do that portion of it. And then
Yeah.
trim and doors will be installed after that. And then backsplash for the kitchen and the our bathroom. We're putting subway tile in our shower, so I'm super excited to see like the details to come together.
Yes, I feel like once that stuff starts happening, then it will just give you that whole vision. When you texted me and said that the friend of ours in our community group was offering to paint, I definitely felt like that was kind of God leading him to help, like leading you guys kind of together in that because it definitely is a blessing, just because you guys have had so much back and forth with your house and a lot of things maybe not go your way at first, and a lot of just headaches with the whole process. That I feel like this has definitely been a blessing. And if he's able to do it, that just kind of is something lifted off your guys' shoulders. Also, he's a professional, so I feel like it would be done really nicely too. Not that like family, myself including, like we wouldn't have not given it our best, but I feel like this way it's done by one person. It's done really well, and it's gonna look awesome. And yes, definitely a blessing for sure. What color are you guys going with? Just so our listeners kind of get an idea.
Yeah, we're just going with white right now. So it's called Alabaster White by Sharon Williams. And it's kind of like a warm white, so it's not going to be like bright
Like
white.
bright.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of not cream, but like soft, I
I
guess.
love that. Like a soft,
Mhm.
just kind of
That
subtle white.
Now that we said that though, we're putting trim pieces in our bedroom around our bed, just probably two pieces on both sides of our bed. And just remember that if we're gonna paint, I need to get those hung up because they need to be painted around. So
Yes.
I need
Yeah.
to do that in the next couple of days. Um, and then the closets are going to be it's called eggshell white. And it's kind of supposed to be similar color, but it's a like cheaper version. So we're
Yeah.
doing that to save money. So we're doing that in closets, pantry, and utility room. So
Nice.
I'm just doing all white for right now, because I don't really know if I want to do colors. So I figured I'll just do white for now, and then if once we get settled and everything, in a year or two, if I want to do an accent wall somewhere, I can always add it later. And then this way, it's just easier for painting. Literally, the same color goes in all the bedrooms, and then the same
Yeah.
one goes in all the closets. So you can, if he's going to be spraying it, he can literally just move from room to room,
Yeah.
without changing colors or cleaning out the sprayer or anything like that. And then, because our windows are black, so I feel like we're still gonna have some color in the
Oh
house.
yeah.
And then the laundry room is getting that wallpaper, and then we're having shiplap in the living room on the fireplace. So I feel like there will be some like texture and color added in throughout.
I think so too. I like that idea because you don't really know necessarily what you want until you've lived in this space. Like I always hear people say that they wish they would have done this differently or wish they would have done that. And so I think it's a good idea to just kind of wait
Yeah.
and do something that's really neutral and you're not going to outgrow. And then you can always add to that and do like an accent wall, like you said. Or it'd be easy to paint over if you decide like Dean wants to do a certain theme in his room or something.
That was my thought too, since I know he's only 2.5, so interests change all the time between one week
Yeah.
he likes Paw Patrol, the next week he likes Thomas the Train. But I was thinking I'll just leave his room white for now too. And I have some cute, like I'm gonna probably use similar things that I did in his nursery since I have all that stuff already. Like we have the cute cattle pictures and then we have his initials to hang above his bed. So I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna still hang that stuff, but then that way I figured maybe when he's like 5 or something, if he wants a themed room, it wouldn't be too hard to change it then.
No.
How about you? So what's new with you?
Well, we are in the thick of the spring season for farming. So planting and spraying. Kyle's been going hard at late hours and trying to get a bunch of stuff done while the weather was nice. It finally, the weather with the rain and the storm actually allowed the guys to slow down the last 2 days. So Kyle's in the house right now, which he hasn't been in the house for this early in a while. So
And
that
then
was
you're
kind of
sitting
nice.
down and recording the podcast.
Hey, that's all right. We got to do our thing too. And I gave him the baby monitor and I said, "Here's the baby monitor. I'm gonna go record a podcast because Andrew's sleeping." But yeah, so that's going really well. I think we'll probably, I don't know, maybe they're 2/3 of the way done planting. So we'll get in there. There's quite a bit of spraying left to do. I feel like spraying kind of got pushed behind because of the wind. So they
Mhm.
weren't able to do a lot of spraying right away. But they also
I
picked
bet
up,
the corn and soybeans will like the rain we just got. Even though we didn't necessarily
yeah,
need all that wind, the rain was much needed.
I think so too. And something new that we picked up this year for custom agriculture is spreading fertilizer. So they've been doing some of that as well. And so, yeah, that's kind of what's going on in our family. But let's dive into just that conversation of how can we create a peaceful and calm home with some of these strategies. So one thing that Morgan and I really have thought about is the purpose of wanting to create a calm and peaceful home, and why are you wanting to update things or change things, organize things. And the first thing that we should do is ask ourselves why. Kind of begin with the heart and thinking to yourself, like, why is it important? How will it change my day to day? And is it something that we feel in our head, in our thoughts, that we should be doing it because that's like what society says we should do? Or are we doing it because it's going to create that goal of feeling more calm or creating a space that is easy to move through throughout the day and going to make us be more intentional with our activities instead of trying to play catch up all the time? So, just trying to think of like what is your purpose and your why behind it. And so then that way you're more thoughtful too with how you are updating it or organizing it or making it more calm. So Morgan, why is that like important to you? Like why is it something that we look into with just this topic?
Getting a calm and peaceful home is really important to me because life is so busy as it is. Like, I feel like we just have so many things coming at us that our home is supposed to be our safe place. It's supposed to be our place where we can unwind. It's not supposed to add stress to our bodies. So really, your space is supposed to work for you, not against you. And sometimes people say like they love going to like a hotel or things like that because it's just like calm and clean and peaceful and nothing to distract you. And literally, you just get to relax, which is true. Like vacations and things are supposed to be that. But why not like have our home be our oasis? Like
Yeah.
our home should be our place where we love to spend the most time and that we
Yeah.
can connect as a family. So I think that's my biggest why is because I want it to be a place where we feel comfortable living in. So it's not so clean and organized all the time that we don't feel like we can get messy when we get our art supplies out, but
Yeah.
also that it's picked up and organized and doesn't add stress to my life because right now, like living out of boxes, it's definitely causing stress to me. Like I feel like
Yeah.
I literally say all the time, well, I have that, but I don't know where it's at. And I just feel like we're living kind of in like just um a crazy season with everything. So I think that's why I'm most excited about it.
Well, and I also think when it comes to the religious aspect of it, God has provided these things on earth for us, and He gives them to us as gifts and blessings. But I also feel that we are supposed to be stewards of these things, so they're not truly ours. Like they all belong to God, and God is the one who kind of decides like what we are like able to call ours, quotes, call ours, because I feel like they truly are his. And so if we want to be stewards of the things that he provides for us, then we need to take care of them. And no
Mhm.
matter like what season you're in, if you aren't even in your dream home, like necessary, like this old farmhouse that we live in is not necessarily my dream home or my dream layout. Eventually, maybe Kyle and I will build. But I've been trying to like really think of it as it's what we have right now. How can I make it the most cozy? How can I make it the most comfortable and work for us in the season that we're in currently? And really cherish it as well. We can complain about the negative things about it. Like sometimes it's too small when we host. Sometimes I am so annoyed with the spiders that appear or the flies that appear because it is an old farmhouse. If you've ever lived in an old farmhouse, those things are just gonna happen. And so you have to spray more often, it seems like, because there's cracks and holes. And so sometimes it can be really easy to focus on the negative. But every time I do that, I always pull myself back and I'm like, no, what has this house provided for us? What has it given us over the last 5 years? And also, what kind of memories has it given us too? So that's another reason why I think it's important to look at like the purpose. We want to be stewards of the things God provides for us and take care of the things that He has given to us.
Mhm. I agree with you. And I think that is a really good reminder and powerful too. Like right now, living with Tyler's parents, it's been such a blessing too. I feel like I've gotten to know them so much. Like
I bet.
I feel like I am so close with them now because we've lived with them for a year and a half and they've seen me with bedhead on Saturday morning, you know.
Yeah.
And so I feel like without this experience in this last year and a half, like I have been close with my in-laws. Tyler and I have been together for 6 years now, and I've been close with them. But over the last year and a half, I feel like I've really gotten to know them better and living with them. Like, I mean, you're gonna talk about things and get to know like past just,
Yeah.
Friday night dinner talk.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that um is really good for you guys and just like that dynamic because not everybody gets to have that opportunity. So that's kind of cool. And it can, I feel like in your situation, it has gone well. It could always go the opposite way too, where people get to know each other too well.
Yeah.
But in your case, it's gone good and it's a blessing for sure. And it's also very nice that she is like Dean and Andrew's childcare provider. So then that's also convenient for you guys right now in the
Yeah.
season. And so,
The
yeah,
extra help right now has been super nice too. Like tonight, I needed to go give Dean a bath, and I had made dinner tonight. But then, since Deb knew I had to go give Dean a bath, she's like, "I can finish cleaning up dishes and stuff like that." So it's been
yeah.
nice having that extra help during this season with the house being how crazy it is and stuff like that. Okay, so what does this look like for you? Like, what is your ideal setup or situation? What would a calm week or day look like? What would a calm weekend look like? What is your house when you think of calm and peaceful? What does that look like to you in your situation?
I would say for me, calm and peaceful is having things kind of in a spot, having it be picked up. Um, I mean, right now I have toys out here on the sun porch. If you are watching on YouTube, you can kind of see the toys out on the sun porch. So not everything necessarily like hidden. It doesn't have to be that way, but just kind of having a spot for it. And still having it be comfortable enough where people can come over and we could have friends over, we could have family over, and the toys are in the toy box, that kind of thing. But my biggest thing to make it like really comfortable and calm and cozy is having it cleaned up enough where like the dog hair is picked up because my ideal kind of day is like I am making a good breakfast with coffee and we're heading out the door if it's a walk week. And then we come home and we have a nice dinner. The dinner table is already cleared off. I don't have to clear that off. Like that's something that I always just have ready to go. The counters have enough space on them where I can cook my meal and they're not super cluttered. I try to empty the dishwasher in the morning before I go to work. So then that way when I get home, I can just instantly start throwing our dirty dishes in the dishwasher. So that's one less
Yes,
step that helps
that's
with
a
the
big
flow.
one.
Yeah. And then on the in the evening, the reason the dog hair is a big thing is because then in the evening I can play with Andrew on the floor and not worry about getting all dog hairy or covered in dust from like having dirty floors, that kind of thing. So those are my kind of big, I don't know, strategies to try to create that calm environment. Now it doesn't always happen, so sometimes I do get frustrated because I'm like, man, I'm covered in hair after playing on the floor, but that's my ideal situation. And then on the weekend, having it be where it's kept up and clean and enough, I guess, like not perfectly, but enough where I feel comfortable sitting on the couch and reading a book because I want to relax and I don't have anything pressing that needs to happen. Um,
Yeah.
but usually, to be honest, do I have time usually after cleaning? Not necessarily because there's other tasks as a mom to do, but that's kind of my ideal situation on Sunday morning or Saturday morning, grabbing a cup of coffee and sitting on the couch or sitting out on the porch relaxing because the house is clean. That's what I hope for and wish for.
It sounds like an ideal morning. That would probably be similar for me too. I think one thing that's important for me too is like my morning routine of I want something that like where I can move freely through my morning routine without like worrying about waking Dean up, and feeling like everything is kind of in its place. So like that's one thing that I'm really excited about with our house is like right now we're all in the basement. And so I usually try to do my journal and prayers and kind of reflect on the day and stuff like that. But you've been like eating breakfast before you walk out, and it's been kind of giving you energy. That's something
Yeah.
I kind of want to try when we live on our own again, because right now I just can't go upstairs,
Yeah.
downstairs, because he'll hear me. So
Yeah.
literally, I go upstairs like at 5, right when I wake up, so that way he is still passed out pretty deep asleep, and I make our lunches, I get my energized together, and then I come back down, get my tennis shoes, and that's the time I might do my prayer journal or something like that. And then I go out, walk out, and then I come back in, and then I try to shower before he wakes up. But
Yeah.
sometimes he'll hear me come in this basement door, so he'll wake up. But he's been doing pretty good about hanging out while I shower. But I think so, like setting up your morning routine to work for you, like I think like that's something that would make my morning kind of flow. I
Yeah.
think so. I'm excited when we have our house and stuff that I can go into the kitchen and like turn on a couple lights and open the windows and the curtains and let natural light in and things like that.
Oh, yeah. I think that helps. I
And
open my
then
curtains as soon as possible.
yeah, yeah. And then just like having a system with like laundry. So I Jade Boyd is a friend of mine that also has a podcast, and she mentioned doing laundry once at least during the week and not just letting it pile up all on the weekends. And that's
Yeah.
kind of something I wouldn't mind trying too, because usually by the weekend, literally I have a mountain of laundry. And
Yeah.
then like you said, then I feel like in the weekend you're cleaning or switching loads of laundry or folding it and stuff. So something I would like to maybe work on too is like doing a few things throughout the week, even if it's throwing it in like when you have just a small load, getting it
Yeah.
folded, put away, and that way you don't have everything to do on the weekend when it should be relaxing time.
Speaking of that, I actually know some people who dedicate like a day to certain things. So like even during the week, like have Tuesday be laundry day, have Wednesday be dusting day, have Thursday be take out the trash, have Friday be like there's just people sometimes dedicate days. And I haven't ever done that. I usually save like you everything to the weekend most of the time. But it's funny how you mentioned like the laundry. Since we've been having more laundry just with having Andrew's clothes now, and then Kyle usually has a load of Doty Farm clothes. I've been actually trying to do like at least start laundry on like Thursday or Friday, even if I don't fold it, but at least have it ready. So then Saturday morning I could hurry up and fold it and then I'm like off my to-do list. So I've been trying to
Oh,
do a little more of that.
that's a good idea. The next, before we have 12 tips that we want to get to that we researched. But before we do that, so just to kind of wrap up this discussion about like how to get started, where it's coming from, looking for your why and kind of understanding what your goals are. You can journal about your ideal situation. So, Megan and I like to journal all the time about being kind of goal setting and being centered and what we're working through, different seasons that we are kind of in and things like that. So just journaling about your ideal situation, honestly, like our vision board that we talked about in one of our beginning of the year episodes, really that can kind of be a starting point. So like what is your overall vision for this year? And like mine this year was rest and peace and feeling more centered and stuff. So like that vision board would be a good place to start. But what does it look like? What does it feel like? What do you want your home to feel like? And how can your space bring you a sense of grounding? And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be like an HGTV home. Like literally, I saw someone's reel today and it said, um, it was like a vlog, like a day in the life. They're like, come to walk with me at home. So she literally went to her kitchen. She had on perfect nails. She went to her kitchen. She made her Nespresso coffee and poured her steamed milk in it. And then she took her coffee over to her office, opened the curtains. Then she had matching pens with highlighters, and she opened her planner and she started like walking through her day. And then she like mixed her coffee up with like a metal straw and like color coded everything. And like maybe part of me is just jealous. I love that type of stuff. Like I love to be organized. I love the colored pens. I would love to have my nails done. Part of me was probably just jealous as I'm seeing this. Like, yeah, I used to work from home and my work from home days. But the whole point is that like if
It
that
doesn't
is
have to
you,
be a like
yeah,
a
if
highlight reel.
no, and if that is you, then more power to you. Like if you want to label all of your food in your pantry with color coded labels and stickers, like go for it. But it's also not realistic for a lot of people to keep that
Yeah.
up. It maybe could be realistic to start it, but it's not realistic to do maintain that every single
Yeah.
day.
No. No, I agree 100%. Sometimes what we see on Instagram and Facebook and just HGTV, the show, is not always realistic. Like you can start it like that, and when you build a home or when you organize a space, it might start looking like that, but it's hard to maintain, and that's okay. Like living in that space does not have to look like picture perfect all the time to still be cozy and calm.
Yeah.
But some 12 tips that we thought were good from this website we found. It's called veranda.com. And I just honestly Googled like tips for creating a calm and cozy home. And these were the big ones that popped up. And then we kind of just pick and chose the ones that we liked and the ones that we kind of resonate with. So the first one is conquering the clutter. Morgan and I talked about this on the last episode that we would rather have a space that is clutter free versus like dirt free. Like,
Mhm.
granted, we don't want a dirty, dusty house. That drives us crazy too. But more importantly, we focus on the clutter, usually every weekend. And then every once in a while, we deep clean. That's kind of where Morgan and I are at in that. So that one we talked a little bit about last month, so we won't go too far into that one. But number two is venture with color. So colors impact mood, lighting, energy, etc. For example, Morgan talked about how she was going to do white for her house, but that kind of soft white, not too bright, just because that is going to make the space look bigger. That's going to give her that opportunity to add whatever kind of decoration she wants. But also, it flows with the space and it just looks clean. But you also want to think about like what is the space like that you are painting. So for example, in my living area, in my living room, dining room, and kitchen, I did kind of a beige color. It's called pavilion beige. And that's also similar, that neutral tone to kind of be in the main living space. But then here out on the sun porch, I did a little brighter. It's more of like a gray, because I was thinking the natural sun and just have it be kind of more bright and inspirational out here. But then also think about someone told me they like their bedroom as a dark color because it helps them sleep better to have it be darker and more cozy. I was kind of thinking the opposite. I painted mine a really dark, like rusty red color, and I do think the color is beautiful. I love the color, but now I'm kind of wishing I wouldn't have painted all four of my walls that color, maybe just an accent wall. Um, but I never really thought about how the like it does maybe impact your sleep and help you sleep better because you stay asleep versus like waking up early because the light it helps keep the room darker. So I don't know. What are your thoughts with colors, Morgan?
I think colors can be so important. I agree with you. I do feel like it depends on the space, like kitchen, your porch there. Like I think those are really important to have bright and things like that. Add in natural light. In the kitchen, you're going to be waking up in the morning, making your coffee. You want it to be calming and not too loud, I feel like. And
Yeah.
something that's going to be timeless too. Something that you don't have to put a lot of work into if you get tired of it 3 years from now. Like for example, our bathroom in our old house, I painted it really, really bright blue when we moved in because I wanted it to be ocean themed. And it was pretty for a while, but I got bored of it pretty quickly. So I ended up painting it gray and
Yeah.
still did the ocean theme with the gray. But so I feel like and then sometimes I feel like you might just change your mind. So you starting with something that's more neutral and like you said, adding an accent wall if you want to. But I feel like color can make a space feel bigger too.
Yeah.
And things like that. The next one is so this one was one of my favorites. So I put, okay, peeps, let's add plants to our space because I don't have any plants right now in my house. So, or like we didn't in our old house either. Every once in a while I'd have like a few on my windowsill, like succulents and stuff. But I'm not one to like um in the past to really have a lot of plants in my space, but I'm going to be intentional about it in our new house because there's literally research that says it helps eliminate toxins, helps purify the air, and it helps just kind of um create kind of that natural feeling in your house, kind of like if you were outdoors. So
Yeah.
we have some open shelves that we're going to put next to our stove. And so I'm going to put a few plants on there. And then we'll have a little bit of a depth to our windowsill. So I might try to put some plants around the house, maybe some just low maintenance ones.
I
But
love that
that's something
idea.
I'm
I don't,
excited about.
yeah, I love that. I only have a little succulent. I need some more plants in my life. I actually need to do my potted plants for my in front of my house. I haven't done those yet.
Yeah. I need to brainstorm what I want the landscape to look like on our outside of our house.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna skip I mean, I can read number four, but number four says, don't forget about your bedroom. This is where you should feel the most calm and comfortable. I guess that we don't need to skip it, but one thing that I was talking to my grandma about the other day, and your grandma too, Molly. I say my grandma, our grandma, was that we were talking about just kind of houses. And when I would like a while back, before I had Andrew, before I was doing most of the cleaning in our house. So like when I shared an apartment with you, I didn't really think about cleaning as much because we shared the duties. And I was like, it would be awesome to have like not I didn't like ever dream of a giant house, but just a good size house. And I always like kind of thought of my layout, what I would want in it. Well, the more and more that we get closer to building a house, the more I'm like, maybe I don't need such a big house. I just want a house that's very laid out and a
Mhm.
house that is organized well.
Has a
Um,
lot of storage.
yeah, lots of storage. The space is very efficient because I don't necessarily want all that cleaning. Sometimes people go, I think, too big with their bedroom, and then they have this extra space in their bedroom and they don't necessarily know what to do with it. Some people put like a little chair in there or like a little couch or I don't know, just extra things in their bedroom. But how many people actually sit in their bedroom to like read or I don't know, maybe people do. Maybe it's just me that has never had that space, so I've just never utilized it. I don't know. But my thoughts are maybe having that area be very practical and not necessarily so big, so you have extra cleaning to do.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm gonna read through the next couple. So 5 just says, think about the roles of your room, how you would make them efficient for the purpose with flow and function, etc. Designing, is your house designed for function or do you walk on tiptoes? Like honestly, if you have kids and stuff, is there a lot of places that have breakables that you'll always constantly like, don't touch that? Like
Yeah.
maybe at this season it might be time. And like mom's gonna listen to this and she's gonna say, "Goes, I never put anything up that unless it was really, really important and like a family heirloom or something." But she's like, otherwise I just taught you girls not to touch it. Like that is a
Yeah.
pretty and we don't touch it. So I do that with Dean. I'm like, no, Dean, that's not for Dean, that's for mommy, and that's a pretty. We don't touch it. But for
Yeah.
the most part, there's not too much stuff around that he could break. And so I think making your house for function and still pretty, but not having a ton of things to walk around. And like you said, the more stuff you have setting out, the more you have to dust it.
Yeah.
Adding natural light to bring in vitamin D. So opening your curtains, bringing in sunshine. And then I'll read 8, Megan. And then if you want to go through the next couple. Utilizing natural textures was another tip on this website and helping, and we mentioned the colors again. But even textures like adding in, so using kind of all your 5 senses was something that they mentioned on this site when we were
Yeah.
researching. So textures of your pillows, textures of your carpet, if you have wood floors, maybe putting a rug down, things like that.
Yeah. And then number 9 is don't forget about smells. So using your 5 senses again. You don't want too much fragrance that it's overwhelming, but just enough soothing smells. Or if you have like a diffuser, or if you have a Scentsy, like switching those out and having it be so people can actually notice that smell. Maybe some candles too. Candles kind of set the tone for the space. I know people have been talking more and more about like how sometimes candles can be toxic, but I guess if you are worried about that, there are like better options so that they're not toxic. I always get mine from Bath and Body Works. I don't know. I feel like those are fine and they smell really good. Oh, what is Yankee Candle maybe too? Those ones smell really good. But then number 10 is how do your outdoor spaces feel around your house? So like your yard or your patio or your porch. One thing that I want to continue updating in is our outdoor space because I feel like we don't really have a very calm and cozy outdoor space. Sometimes I don't know what to do with Andrew out in our yard. So I would like to work on that, maybe getting patio furniture or getting a swing set, things for us to actually do outside and not just have our driveway. Number 11, creating wellness spaces. So places that you can have your self-care. So walking out, journaling, meditating, and anything that's going to be self-care, doing your nails, whatever. Number 12, and don't forget about the small spaces like having a place to do your makeup or a small space for, I don't know.
Even like your porch that you're sitting on, Megan, for the longest time
Yeah.
you just used it as a storage room. But then you were like, I want to be intentional about this space. I want to make it a place that I can come out and read, or we've been recording our podcast out there. And you do
Yeah.
still use about half of it for storage, but half of it is like super cute and user friendly.
Yeah. So those are our 12 tips from the website veranda.com. If you guys have any tips also for just how you create calm, peaceful environments in your home or outside your home in your outdoor areas, let us know. Share our episode and let us know, tag us, and we'd love to hear what you guys do because we always are looking for new tips too.
Thank you, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed this conversation. We will have one more in this series.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.